Imagine landing in a foreign country, and the first thing you encounter isn't a language barrier, it's measurement confusion. You see road signs in kilometers, milk sold in liters, and clothes sized in centimeters. Back home, it's miles for the long haul, gallons for your gas, and inches to fit your fashion. Why does stepping outside the United States often feel like entering a world that speaks a different numerical language? But have you ever wondered why? Why does the United States, amidst global trends and practical simplicity, cling to its unique set of measurements? The answer must surprise you. Today, we are exploring why will the US probably never adopt the metric system. Section 1. A Tale of Two Systems. Suppose you're planning a road trip. If you're cruising through most of the world, your speedometer talks in kilometers per hour. You're gliding along. Everything's clear. If the sign says 100, you hit 100, feeling like a math genius without even trying. But then, you take your road trip to the USA and suddenly it's miles per hour. It's like someone flipped the script. Now, a sign saying 65 has you scratching your head doing quick math and wondering why we can't all just get along with one system. It's like playing a video game where everyone else knows the cheat codes and you're stuck figuring out the controls. This isn't just about road trips. It shows how Americans and the rest of the world often see things differently, not because one is better than the other, but because history and culture have shaped us in unique ways. When Americans stick to inches and pounds, and the rest of the world uses meters and kilograms, it's not just about refusing to change. It's a deep-rooted part of who they are. It's like using an old family recipe that you don't want to change because it's part of your tradition. So, while the metric system is all about keeping things straightforward and connected, the US customary system is wrapped up in history, culture, and a touch of stubbornness to keep things just the way they've always been. Section 2. The metric system's French connection. Transitioning from the quirky differences in measurement systems, let's travel back in time to France, right after the French Revolution. Picture this. France was in a bit of a mess, with different regions using their own measurement systems, making trade and communication as chaotic as trying to bake a cake with everyone shouting different instructions. In came the metric system, introduced by the French to clean up this confusion. It was like a breath of fresh air, offering a single, simple way to measure everything, based on the natural world. The idea was so good that it was like the hot new trend in measurement, quickly catching on in countries around the globe. But here's where the plot thickens. Across the ocean, the young United States was just getting its bearings, fresh off its own revolution. When they heard about France's new system, it was a bit like hearing your rival school has a cool new mascot. Sure, it's neat, but there's no way you're going to cheer for it. The metric system, with its roots deeply embedded in French soil, symbolized more than just a set of measurements. It represented a revolutionary France that America, in its quest to forge a distinct identity, was wary of fully embracing. As the metric system began to spread like wildfire, transforming the way people measured their world, the United States watched from the sidelines, sticking to its own set of measurements as a symbol of its independence and emerging national pride. Imagine a map lighting up with the metric system taking over, and there, steadfast in its corner, is the US, a colorful exception to the global trend, much like holding onto a family heirloom in a modern home. Section 3. The Industrial Revolution and American Exceptionalism. France adopted the metric system in 1795 and made it mandatory in 1840. The US legalized it in 1866. International agreement followed in 1875. By 1988, Congress pushed for full adoption in the US, with federal agencies transitioning by 1992. As we wave goodbye to the historic standoff between American pride and the French metric system, we dive into an era of smokestacks and steam engines, the Industrial Revolution. This was a time when America was transforming, building factories faster than you can say mass production. But as the country geared up, it firmly gripped its customary units like a carpenter holds onto his favorite hammer. Imagine the US as a giant workshop, buzzing with the creation of new machines and gadgets, all designed and built using inches, feet, and pounds. These weren't just any tools. They were the backbone of industries, from railways stretching across vast lands to factories churning out products by the minute. Switching to the metric system now would be like trying to change the tires on a car while it's zooming down the highway. Not just hard, nearly impossible. American industrialists had poured fortunes into their machinery, all tailored to the U.S. customary system. Changing to metric meant redoing everything, a cost no one was eager to pay. This isn't just a tale of machines and money, though. It's also a story of power, political power. The industrialists weren't just factory owners, they were influencers, whispering in the ears of politicians, convincing them that keeping the customary system was the best path forward. Their influence was a fortress, protecting the customary units from the metric onslaught. And oh, the what-ifs. Picture the railroads, the backbone of America's expansion. What if they had been built using the metric system? Or think about the iconic Ford Model T, the car that put America on wheels. Could it have kick-started a metric revolution in the US? We'll never know. These inventions, these moments of American ingenuity, were all tied up in customary measurements, weaving them even tighter into the fabric of the nation. As America marched through the 19th and into the 20th century, the metric system knocked on its door time and again, only to be met with a polite, "No thank you." The combination of economic interests, political lobbying, and a deep-seated belief in American exceptionalism meant that the customary system was here to stay, as much a part of the American identity as apple pie. Section 4. The modern implications. Stepping out of the industrial age and into the bright lights of the 21st century, we land in a world where measurements still matter, but the reasons and repercussions have evolved. Nowadays, American kids learn about both the metric system and the customary units in school, juggling inches and centimeters, pounds and kilograms. It's a bit like being bilingual in the language of measurements, especially since science and medicine have embraced the metric system worldwide. Imagine a scientist in a lab or a doctor in a hospital. They talk in milliliters and grams, not ounces and pounds. This dual system of education ensures that Americans can navigate both worlds, albeit sometimes with a bit of a headache. When it comes to global trade and technology, think of the US as a giant playing a game where everyone else is using a different rule book. Every time an American company wants to sell products overseas or buy materials from abroad, they have to convert all those measurements into the metric system, which can be as tricky as trying to play a video game with a chessboard. This not only costs time, but money too, as mistakes in conversion can lead to big mix-ups, like receiving a shipment that's 10 times too big or too small because someone added a zero by mistake. Yet, despite these challenges, the US customary system remains a core part of American cultural identity. It's like a quirky trait in the American personality, something that makes the US distinct on the global stage. Internationally, this adherence to an old system might seem as peculiar as driving on the other side of the road. It catches attention, sparks conversations, and sometimes a bit of confusion. But it also underlines the uniqueness of the American way, a blend of history, tradition, and the pioneering spirit that prefers miles to kilometers and gallons to liters. This blend of education, global interaction, and cultural identity highlights the complex tapestry of measurement systems in modern America. Navigating this landscape requires a bit of flexibility, a dash of humor, and a whole lot of conversions, but it's all part of what makes the global community so rich and diverse. As we continue to exchange goods, ideas, and cultures, perhaps the story of the US and the metric system is just another chapter in the ongoing saga of how we connect, understand, and sometimes baffle each other in this interconnected world. After this journey through time, culture, and measurements, that brings us back to a question as weighty as a ton. In a world that's constantly finding new ways to bridge distances and blend cultures, will the United States ever take the leap and fully embrace the metric system? Or will gallons, miles, and pounds continue to be the charming oddities in America's storied tapestry, a testament to its unique heritage and independent spirit? As we ponder this, remember that whether you measure your journey in miles or kilometers, it's the discoveries along the way that count. And if you've enjoyed unraveling this tapestry with us, consider subscribing to our channel. Not only will you help us inch or centimeter closer to more fascinating tales, but you'll ensure you're always a part of our next extraordinary adventure. So, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications, And let's continue to explore the curious, the bizarre, and the wonderful world together. Who knows what unit of measure we'll explore next?